Today is fencing time. Not a classical fencing, but a fencing to protect our property for the future. We were walking right now to the backside of the property, which I will guide you to together with Archibald in a moment. And this backside, the plan is to put a fence all the way here, along the field, so all the plants and bushes and trees that we are planning to plant over here are protected from wild animals. Hi Archie, what's up? Ready to build the fence?
Let's see. So I've performed a few preparatory works already. So for example, this bar I've hammered in the ground next to the cornerstone, which marks basically a quarter of our ground. And here I've stretched a thread marking where the pickets will come for the fence. And I've also marked already in the ground with a shovel together with my father where at regular intervals the poles will be hammered into the ground. That we did by taking the length and dividing it into stretches that are around about 2.5 meters. So we took the length divided by 2.5 and came to the next round number, then divided the length into that round number, and then we came up with around something like 2.6 meters as a stretch between each pole. So we marked these 2.6 meters until around about the corner of the house. And so now what I will do is place the two first poles. So the first one here on the corner, as well as the first one over there.
Just right there.
Right there, yeah. And from these two first poles I will then stretch again a thread that we can then use also to make sure that all the other poles will be on the one hand aligned well, but on the other hand will have the same height for the actual fence to be mounted on. And I will place the poles in the ground by using a motor drill. I need to get into the ground around about 60 centimeters because the poles are 2 meters and 10 and I have a fence of 1 meter 50. So I need to drill around about 60 centimeters into the ground, and then I will place those poles into it and give it a last little push with a tool that I made myself, which exists to be purchased also commercially, but I made it myself with some scraps that were laying around to be able to hammer the poles into the ground a little bit, just enough for them to hold, and then ram the earth around the poles by hand. We chose not to use concrete to fix them because we also don't know if this fence is permanent in that way or if we want to change something at some point, just to be able to flexibly also remove things if we need to, because we also maybe need to have some earth delivered here to do some landscaping here. And in order for that to be possible, we thought, let's not make this fencing too permanent by cementing it into the ground and keeping it just hammered in. That should do the job for now.
Because our long-term plan actually would be that we use this backside of the building for our own personal garden, which is hopefully helping us to more or less self-sustain
at least vegetable wise and these kind of things, be able to grow some of those things ourselves, which is something that we would really love to do a bit more. So these are the poles. I also call them pickets. I'm not sure what the right word actually is. Let's call them poles. These are the poles we are going to use, and so they're really made, they're called Z profiles because they have this kind of Z shape. So Z profiles these are the ones we're going to use, and they have, as you can see, these kind of hooks in which you can then clamp your fence. You close them by pushing them in, and also they have some pre-made holes for the wire that you use to stretch your fence afterwards. Yeah, so these are the ones we're gonna use. They're zinced, ready-made profiles, commercially available. We prefer this over wood. Well, prefer is a big word, but we chose them over wood based on also advice that wood can, of course, rot. Those can rust maybe over time, but yeah, they may live longer, or at least we in the end. Price-wise, the difference was very minimal, so we chose to give this a try, and let's see. So here we have arrived at corner number 2. So I will be able to connect. I will drill in the ground this post. So I will be able to put my thread from the post in front over there that I placed earlier to here. Then I have this first stretch, and from here I'll connect the fence to the actual building over here. So close it off like a corner like this. So by putting those 2 corners, I'll have this stretch covered as well as this one, because the fence will be connected here to the building. Here we've hit some pretty decent earth, very proper earth. No stones or no very condensed layers, but very heavy soil. Very clayish, so you saw the drill struggling to pull it up. So I didn't go the full depth in, because I'm sure that with this kind of earth we'll be able to ram in the last bit of post we will need.
What are you up to?
I'm making some anchors for the corner braces.
What part is going to the ground, and what house?
This goes into the ground here. This sticks out of the ground. That's where I will then, with rivets, fix the diagonal post that functions as a brace or a bracket.
we're taking care of that. We are leaving the last hook untouched and unearthed so we can hang in the fence afterwards.
So today's the day. The actual fence wire is coming on to the construction we've been busy with the past weeks. And yeah, I'll show you a little bit on how I'm proceeding with that. It's the first time I'm doing that, so definitely feel free to leave comments if there is any better way of doing it or if there's something I should improve. But since it's part of a system that has a kind of particular, there is a system behind it, I don't think I can do that much wrong. But I'll show you guys anyway how this system works and how I'm proceeding with it. And yeah, let's hope all goes smooth. In the bottom we have a very last one which is turned the other way around. There is a few of them that are turned upside down so that they keep the fence down, and most of these little hooks are facing upwards. So we reached the end of one roll, and so now we're connecting the next roll onto it. So we have to connect every single wire of this fence together. I never did it before, so I'll try my best to do what seems sensible to me.